Hi, it is Art. Long time no chat. Things have been pretty darn busy since actually launching my comic, so I haven't been able to come back and talk about that yet. But things are finally starting to settle down a little bit, so I just wanted to talk about the launch of the comic and what I have been doing in the meantime. I'm also now recording in a different place because I don't particularly want to record in my car if I don't have to, so we will see how the audio sounds in a new place. I think my comic launch went pretty well considering the following that I have. It definitely was a lot of close friends being able to read it and comment on it, and that was very nice. It has definitely settled down a little bit more, but that also is just kind of hard to keep up with things when it's a one page a week sort of thing, but I definitely like that consistency and people can come back once they remember that it exists at some point. Also, I do think that the mobile updates definitely help with that, just kind of having a segment at a time instead of a smaller piece every week. But yeah, it's definitely chilled out a little bit. It's just been kind of remembering that I have to post every Friday and doing that. Something that is more difficult than I anticipated is actually like coming up with a little caption for it every week. It is something that I started doing at the beginning, especially so that if there is like a content warning that I need to give, it is helpful to be able to have that space to do that. But sometimes I really do just want to let the art speak for itself, so that is always a task. Other things that have been interesting, but somewhat expected with the posting weekly is that worry as my buffer starts dwindling. I did make a pretty large one, for posting once a week, especially since I knew that I was going to be moving in the next year, and I also did a lot of other things. I was legally changing my name and legally getting married and moving and a bunch of stuff, so I was doing a lot of things. And the moving especially definitely has been very, very time consuming. So up until pretty recently, I have not been able to be working as steadily on the comic. The chapter that I was working on when I finished the 100 days of making comics, I only recently got to the final stage of this is mostly done. I'm just gonna save it and not look at it for a little while so I can look at it with fresh eyes and write down some editing points. It also didn't help that that was a lot of the really tedious, boring things that I did not want to do. And we ended up shipping our stuff on a boat and driving down the Alaska-Canada highway in February with our 2 cats, so it was definitely not very easy to manage to do art while doing that. We drove in 5 days, and it was about 2,700 miles, so that was definitely not ideal for taking out my tablet and working on stuff that I already was kind of dreading doing anyway. But I did get a lot of pictures of some very beautiful mountains from the drive down, so that was cool. Definitely very stressful. And in the preparation for moving, I was also doing things like going through all of my art supplies and trying to figure out what was worth bringing with, what is worth shipping, because art supplies are pretty expensive. So I was doing a fair amount of some traditional art to test to see how I felt about different mediums that I haven't used in a while. I also got stuff to roll out ink for my printmaking stuff for Christmas, so I finally got to make some prints that I've been wanting to do for a while, so that was very fun. So I arrived to Portland on the 1st of March and have been slowly settling in, job hunting. I have also been working on actually starting to do more art as a business stuff, which I have been trying to plan on doing for a while, but now that I'm getting a new job, it definitely makes sense to try and do something where I can also do art more as a job as well. So I've been preparing an Etsy and a Google form to do commissions through, and tweaking my website again to make that look a little bit nicer. And currently I have a meeting to talk to a business professional to figure out whether I want to be a sole proprietorship or an LLC, and seeing how that works, especially in a new state. So I have been incredibly busy doing a lot of things, not necessarily entirely comic focused, but a lot of art related stuff. I just got a desk finally, and it has been one that I've been looking at for probably a year. It's a big L-shaped one, and I am very excited to be able to have art that is like more traditional and like have that drawing on one part of the desk while having my tablet set up on another part, and that is definitely ideal and has been making me be able to be a lot more productive again. It is harder to do things when I don't have my setup like fully done, and really not easy to get a habit in when there's not a place to do it easily. So I finished up mostly the chapter that I was working on last, the one with all the shelves, and I am glad to report that the plan that I had for doing like a base color and then being able to warp that to the shelves has worked pretty well. I am probably going to go over it with a little bit of like line art very quickly to try and like blend it in a little bit better with the rest of the scene, but truly it is a little bit wonky in some places, but it is passable. And while I am waiting to go in and do those edits, I have been getting line art for the next chapter done now, so that is ideally what this video is of. I also wanted to talk about what I thought about the 100 Days of Making Comics challenge now that it has been a little bit after, and what I thought was worthwhile having a little bit more distance from it. I do think it would be pretty valuable if you were not going to have an incredibly hectic period of time immediately after you finish it, so you can keep up with that schedule a little bit more. Not exactly the 30 minutes, but I definitely pretty harshly dropped off because I was like, okay, now I have to focus on all of these other things that I'm doing in my life. I really liked the community that I was somewhat able to build while doing it, and the practice of getting to know how to make videos and talk about what I was doing was definitely really, really helpful. And since I really had to kind of move comics to the back burner afterwards, I really did miss doing it that regularly, but I had to like pack up my desk and do a bunch of other things. So I have been wanting to do comic stuff since then the whole time. I do really think it is good for building a habit, and I really am glad that I was able to encourage some people while doing it, because I definitely got some comments like that. Anyways, I hope everybody's doing well. I am enjoying the warmer weather. I do have some more videos that I've been planning for a while. It's just been a matter of being able to film and record audio. So hopefully I will be able to do that soon. And as I'm doing more comic work actually again, I will be able to come up with more ideas and chat about that. Thanks for hanging out. I hope you were able to get some comic work done while listening to this. And if you want to tell me what you've been up to in the past several months in the comments, please do. I would love to know what progress you've made in whatever artistic endeavor you've been doing. And I hope to see you next time.